We are now in lecture 3, part 2. Here we're going to discuss the civic objection to the voluntary army. We're going to introduce the notion of democratic participation and duties, and introduce the notion of the common good. And here is the second objection to the sale of army draft responsibilities and the voluntary army. Let us call it the civic virtue and the common good objection. Sandel would like us to consider that serving in the army, like serving on jury duty, is a civic duty that is expressive of democratic citizenship. Jury duty preserves a connection between the courts and the people, giving greater democratic legitimacy to the courts and educating and priming citizens for greater democratic participation in the goings-on of their country. Serving in the military, likewise, preserves a connection between a country's armed forces and its people, giving greater legitimacy to the army and educating and priming citizens for greater democratic participation in the goings-on of their country. Sandel makes an additional interesting observation. Surely our leaders would involve us in fewer wars if they themselves and their children served in the army. The claim here is that military service, like jury duty, is a civic obligation, duty and responsibility, and, like jury duty, forms character traits, civic virtues, in citizens needed for these and other ways of necessary and successful participation in a democratic society. Thus, carrying out the obligation of military service, like that of jury duty, corrupts civic duty and civic virtue. Perhaps it is to the point here to remind ourselves that in the very beginning, as an example of civic virtue, Sandel suggested that a country is great and good if civic virtue is present in its citizens, such that they all pull together and help each other during hard times and crisis. Again, here the point would be that a country is great and good if civic virtue is present in its citizens, such that they all participate in the basic institutions of that country and society, such as jury duty and military service. Additionally, let us notice together with Sandel that in addition to the virtues of character that result in one's participation in one's country or community, one also receives a much valued psychological benefit of belonging by identifying with the community as a result of participating in and shaping that collective of which one is already a part. One acquires a greater purpose, meaning, and agency in one's life. The joys and sorrows of the community and its other members are also one's own joys and sorrows. There is more solidarity and happiness in such a community. One shares and strengthens the emotional and otherwise bond with one's neighbors and works together with them on projects that are beneficial to everyone, the common good. Just as we have struck in the direction of expanding our understanding of freedom by identifying forms of coercion beyond those recognized by libertarianism, with our discussion of the army draft and the ability to sell one's place or volunteer for a paid army, we have now deepened our previous initiation into the ethics of public virtue and the common good.